This summer, the great guys at Hughes Kettner invited me to take part in this event called SpiritCon 2. During this week in Germany, I met a lot of great guys, YouTubers and guitar players, and we played with the great Black Spirit amplifiers, and we did some videos. One guy that I met there was Stine, a legendary YouTube guitar teacher and a great, fantastic guy, and we had a good time sitting down and sharing some of our favorite guitar things. This video here is actually the part 2 of this video, so you should now go to Steve Stine's channel to see the part 1. The link is in the description. While you're there, subscribe to his channel and then come back here after watching the part 1. I hope you enjoyed this video and hope it gives you some good kick and ideas, and thanks again to Hughes Kettner for making this all happen. Enjoy.
What's funny about this is that we've never jammed before, and my second thing would be horizontal playing.
So share your visions about it.
So it's just so funny because it's so true. Everything you just said is absolutely true. So if I was playing, you know, learning how to play. That way it just sounds so much interesting when you're... Now, it doesn't have to be strictly on one string, but the idea of being able to use all those bends and slides and different things like that to make something a little bit more melodic.
Exactly.
And it forces you to slow down a little bit because you can't use all the patterns that you normally do. And then what I'll do sometimes is I'll take that horizontal idea, which I learned from like Yngwie Malmsteen, which we were talking about earlier in the van on the way over here. When I first heard Yngwie Malmsteen, again, thinking from a block position, I always thought everything was like here.
Yeah.
And then learning that everything was actually expanding this way across the guitar. So learning how to play more. Or maybe I'll combine a couple of strings together or whatever, but that concept of being able to play horizontally.
Yeah, for picking wise, you don't have to do that Paul Gilbert.
Yeah. Yes.
Kind of like that. It eases up that picking thing.
That's
also.
right.
So, but anyway, you have a lot of things to move here. But one of the greatest things is many guitar players have a fear of sliding into a note because you might end up
sliding over.
You're trying to get here. So once you start doing more, kind of, I recommend anybody to try out just to force yourself, like limit yourself to play only one string playing for a certain amount of time. Even take off the strings if you need to make sure that you're not cheating. But kind of if you play on one line, it's going to be very healthy and it kind of helps you to kind of focus yourself to learn those slides. And if you want to get here and you play here,
you can always do the Marty Friedman bending thing,
and you have the vibrato bar because you can, yeah, that's as far as the classic non-Floyd Rose type vibrato would go.
Right. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the more you can practice that, it develops your ear too, because if you're playing over something, you can hear how it sounds as you're playing. And the other thing too is that you'll notice there's a lot of bending possibility in there, right? So as you're playing, you don't just have to play the notes, you can start thinking, well, if I've got a 10 and a 12 and a 13, maybe I'll bend up to that 13. Or I'll bend up to that. Some really, really neat sounds like that. So yeah, that's so funny. Okay, well now I'm really excited to hear what the the third thing for you would be.
I actually started panicking. What the hell do I have a third one? I might have. There was a time in my life where I found that I would create a lot of music without the guitar at all. I would create all this strange music, and I thought I kind of like I found some new sounds or something that kind of wasn't just picked from somebody else's record, so mixing a lot of different sounds. But then every time I would pick up the guitar, I would sound like I would repeat same patterns that I would have learned from tablature books and records I would have listened, and guitar based. And my playing was all based on the fretboard thing. And well, first of all, the horizontal playing helps you possibly to get out of that, and this horizontal playing is strongly linked. But I might finally reveal it's just about playing the guitar as you would sing. So kind of listening to the sound. I don't know where it actually starts, but it's somewhere around this segment, or maybe from between the toes or something. I don't know, but
Right.
it's somewhere it starts. The sound. Listen, if you play a note,
Right.
you have some kind of chord there,
Right.
behind there. Where would you like the next note be?
Right.
And kind of,
Right.
I hate singing in public, but it's that's why I sing. I call it guitar singing. I sing
Right.
through the guitar instead of singing aloud, because I have such an ugly voice, and I prefer not to do it live. But it's
Right.
So doing the classic ear practicing, things like that, singing first and then playing it right after. Little, maybe even just 2-note, little interval exercises, and kind of, especially if you start doing the horizontal thing, you slow down,
Right.
and you start focusing more on, okay, if I'm here, I'm go here. There's 2 whole step. What it's trying to get the connection there, and let you be the master of the notes that you decide to play, and not let the fingers decide.
Right. Well, my third would probably be something similar to that, where what I love to do, which goes back to, there's 2 different things that I always think of, which is, like you just said, it's not about technique necessarily in terms of speed and all that sort of thing. It's trying to make a connection musically. So there's what I refer to as dynamic contrast, which is you're trying to think, if you just played something loud, you play something soft.
Yeah, good.
If you played something high, you play something low. If you played something a lot, play a little, or don't play at all. And then there's vocal tools, I call them, which are hammer-ons, pull-offs, slides, bends, and vibrato.
Yes.
And those things are, so if I took my 2 other ones, which one was an expansion and one was a horizontal movement, then what I would do is kind of slide everything back together. And oftentimes it'll become a little more bluesy that way, but I love the sounds. Yeah. So you can contrast that, and like you said, if you can do some of those really nice melodic sounds and not worry about whether you're, again, picking everything or slurring everything, or you just kind of go with it.
And I think I kind of find it, once you start listening to the first of all, you have to listen, if you're playing with a band or backing track, whatever, you have to listen to the music and kind of think, start feeling, how would I like to comment that music?
Right.
The contrast thing is great.
Right.
Like let's stick on one note for a few bars.
That's
just to
right.
kind of, so you don't need to be everywhere.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things for the guitar players. You have or a soloist. You have a stress to impress everybody,
Right.
including yourself. I
Right.
need to show all my tricks in one place.
That's right. And to add on to that, I've always thought of it kind of like either a good novel or a good book, or, you know, another analogy I've always used is kind of like climbing a hill. You know, when you climb, it's not like the hill is the same size every time. And so when you're
Usually
trying to
not.
play a solo, you know, you don't always want to start off just screaming at somebody. It depends on the style of music and the situation you find yourself in.
yeah.
But it's nice to constantly kind of go back and forth between finding, you know, one thing we haven't mentioned yet is phrasing, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, there's 2 things I have people practice a lot. One is you could just take a sound on your guitar and just listen to how things sound over that particular pitch, right? If I go, I can listen to those, and maybe I'm not thinking about a particular mode or something like that. I'm just listening to the sounds that it makes. And then if I can
where would you like to take it next? And, and that's kind of the thing that kind of where if you have knowledge of scales and sounds of the scales, you play. Sometimes you play it accidentally, play a weird note. And it's like, but wait a second, this that kind of. That might open up something like augmented arpeggio or something else instead of playing the good old minor scale.
That's right. That's right. So sometimes you got to try different things to break out of that normalcy of the same thing that you do all the time. Well, that's great, man.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. Well, thank you. This has been great.
Thank you for reminding me of a lot of good things. I mean, we could continue for hours for sure, and it will be a lot of fun. But we have to let some other people take the couch and have their fun.
Yeah, great guy. Make sure that you're checking out and subscribing to his channel. It's really, really cool. So
likewise, enjoy.
Thank you, brother. Take care.